We're going to talk about aging in retirement, how to have your best life ever, and how not to let things that have become tough become so tough for you that you can't do all the things that you've dreamed of. So I hope you will stick around. If you're new to the channel, I'm Bonita. I retired early at the age of 57. I will be 60 in January. So I'm still relatively young when it comes to being a senior or even being a retiree. But I didn't have my first broken bone until after the age of 50 when I broke this arm, and I broke it so bad that I had to have surgery with a plate and 7 screws. And I have a lot of aches and pains. I've had herniated discs. I had an epidural that gave me permanent nerve damage. But if you follow me, you would know that I don't let this stop me from doing things. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how I make my retirement adaptable so that I can live the life of my dreams without letting a lot of these things that I deal with pain on a day-to-day basis stop me from living my best life. Some of these may be things you haven't really thought about, but I think they are important to think about for when you retire as we age during retirement. When I broke my arm, I did not have insurance. So I turned to YouTube to do my physical therapy. And I turned to the Bob and Brad YouTube channel. I don't know if you've ever pulled them up, but they have been so helpful to me over several of my injuries since I've gotten older. They're a Minnesota-based physical therapist group. They have over 5 million followers. And as physical therapists with over 60 years of experience combined, they create effective science-based tools that bring professional recovery into the comfort of your home. And let me tell you, I did my own physical therapy on my wrist following them on YouTube. And when I went back for my checkup, my surgeon told me my range of motion was better than his. Now, some of you know I just worked at the state fair and I had horrible pain while I was there. And when we took our afternoon to walk around at the fair, my husband and I, they had back massagers in this one building that you could sit in and you could lean against. And I had such terrible sciatica pain that I sat down on that back massager and put it right there on my hip, trying to make it where I could walk again. And I asked them how much it was. It was $128. Being frugal, I thought that was way too much money. So I told my husband I was going to wait, come home, and get mine from Bob and Brad. This back massager is portable. It's only 2.9 pounds, so it's easy to move it around to wherever you need it to be, whether it's at your desk or in your recliner. It's quiet, and it provides extended use of up to 150 minutes once it's charged. It will blink this little red light to show you that it is being charged, and you can even plug it into your computer to charge it. It mimics actual massaging techniques and hand massaging techniques for targeted muscle relaxation. It has dual speed kneading, and it has 3 heat settings. And it changes directions every 60 seconds to relieve stiffness and enhance relaxation. I love that it fits the natural curve of your back, especially in your lumbar area, because that's where I have a lot of problems. It has this flexible, adjustable strap that will fit on chairs, even if you need to put it onto a chair and make sure that it doesn't slip. And it's made with breathable 3-layer fabric for long-lasting comfort. I have had back massagers for a long time. It's something I really haven't talked about. I do have another channel where I go into more detail about some of the chronic pain that I experience on a day-to-day basis, but this is one of the things that I use to get through some of my toughest days. Many of you know that I like to travel in retirement, and traveling in retirement has its own challenges sometimes if you have some difficulties like I do. But I have started looking for places that I can tour that have like tram rides or metros that I can get on. We just recently planned a new vacation for next year to go to Vegas. And my husband was saying, I don't know if you can do Vegas, but we have that little metro we can get on. We've done it before, rides you all through the strip. You can see all the pretty lights. And of course, I will be taking my cane. We will take lots of rest breaks, but we are going to do it anyway. But a lot of places have started offering more things like this. I shared when we went to the state fair, we rode the train, we rode the tram. So a lot of places are offering things that you can ride if you have difficulty walking. And when you're planning your vacation, you might want to look for some of those activities. I shared the video of where we stayed when we were in Florida. And if you remember, we also got a suite that had a handicap bathroom with a walk in shower. My husband even appreciated that, and he doesn't have the difficulties that I do. So look to book some of those things when you go to travel. Don't give up traveling just because you're having some difficulties. There are accommodations that we can make so that we can still get out there and do things. Another thing that I've talked about a couple of times is looking at your home base if you plan to travel, making sure it is affordable, making sure that it is something that you can do that will not put a crimp on keeping your home. Our home is very affordable, so that makes it where we can afford to travel. But looking at your home inside is also just as important. I know when I have traveled that I have come back home really appreciating my small floor plan. Not only appreciating the fact that I don't have as much to clean, but also I don't have as much to walk to get around. And it's something I never really thought about that much. I thought about how it would be nice to have less space. That way I would have to have less clutter, but I never really thought about the walking that was involved until I went to North Carolina and stayed at my son's house for 16 days this past year. He had a very large floor plan, and honestly, it was killing me getting around on a day to day basis in his house. It was so far to a bathroom, so far to the kitchen, and I didn't have a elevated toilet, and I ended up injuring one of my feet because I have neuropathy in it. I cannot feel it very much, and I realized after I injured it that I was putting all of my weight on the foot I couldn't feel to get up from the toilet that wasn't elevated. At home, we added an elevated toilet, we added a walk-in shower, so we are able to age in place here. We do have an upstairs. We still sleep upstairs. Sometimes it's difficult for me to get up there, but I know I have the option of switching to a downstairs bedroom if the time happens where I just can't do the stairs anymore. So thinking about your floor plan is very important, and thinking about the upgrades to your home that you might need. Sometimes it's best to start paying for some of those now and getting them in place so you can age in place. Shopping for groceries can be difficult if you have walking problems or problems lifting things. And getting a shopping cart and walking through the store can help a lot of people because it's like using a walker, and it helps your posture as well as any aches and pains that you have. So I always grab a shopping cart right away, and I use that to walk through the store, and it makes my shopping a lot easier. Now, some of you live in areas where you can get your stuff delivered to your door, that's wonderful. I happen to live in the country. That's not available here. So what I do is I have a wagon that I keep in my yard, and I use that wagon to unload my groceries and then pull it to the door to unload. So there's always creative ways that we can come up with to be able to do some of the things we need to do for ourselves. I want to be as independent as I can. I want to keep going as long as I can. I want to travel. I want to do all the things. And I don't want to be reliant on someone else to do them for me. So I work really hard at trying to come up with creative ways that I can still do the things that I want to do. Living frugally is a passion of mine. And so I work really hard at finding ways that I can adapt the problems that I have and be able to still live frugally. I shared with you that I have an indoor clothing rack because it has gotten really hard for me to hang clothes on the line, quite honestly. And doing it in the house makes it where I can still do those things. Also, cooking is sometimes very difficult. And what I do is I break up the tasks into smaller things. If I need to chop some things, I break that up into smaller tasks, and I do a lot of one pot meals so that I don't have to cook every single day and we have leftovers. So get creative if you have some difficulties doing some of these things to make it easier on yourself. Frugal living works perfectly with some of the difficulties that I have. I've been able to stretch out my laundry where we only do a couple of loads once a week. That makes that task a lot easier. I also only wash my hair about once a week because that's all it really needs. And that makes it a lot easier on me too, because washing my hair is sometimes difficult. So, a lot of these things we don't want to think about, but as you know from watching my channel, I do a lot of stuff. I do pot gardening because it's hard for me to do regular gardening. I'm not going to give up the things that I love. I'm just going to adapt those hobbies so that I can still do them. I hope that this video has been thought-provoking for you on maybe some of the things you can think about as you move into aging or move into retirement. A lot of people move into retirement with no aches and pains and in really good physical shape. I know my sister-in-law and we were out taking a walk when we were on vacation in New Mexico one day, and my father-in-law was walking with us. And at that time, he was, 15 years younger, but still, he was in his late 60s, 70s, and he turned around and was walking uphill backwards, going, "What's taking you guys so long? Come on." And we are huffing and puffing because of the altitude and the incline. And here he was going backwards up the hill, and we could hardly go forwards. And we joked about it later. He has a pacemaker. He's cheating. So getting older doesn't mean you don't have a sense of humor. It doesn't mean that you're not able to exercise. Just a few of us have some of these difficulties. And sometimes when you look at someone like me, you'll say, "Wow, she doesn't look like she has any difficulties." But I do. I do have difficulties. I just don't let them stop me from doing anything. This week, we went to one of my husband's banquets that he had for his work, and it was difficult to stand, it was difficult to sit, but we had a great time because we were able to dress up for the first time in a long time and go out and enjoy a really nice dinner and enjoy the awards banquet that his company hosted. So don't stay at home, don't give up, don't decide that you can't do something anymore. Be determined. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. If you are struggling, let me know in the comments below. Maybe we can brainstorm as a community on how we can figure out some ways that you can still do the things that you love. Thanks for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.